Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. The Texans offense is in the middle of a significant overhaul. It's been a busy offseason for the offense where they have, of course, fired offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, replaced him with Nick Caley, fired offensive line coach Chris Strausser, replaced him with the promotion of Cole Popovich to offensive line coach and run game coordinator. And, of course, we've seen a reboot of the offensive line, trading Laramie Tunsil, signing Laken Tomlinson and Cam Robinson and trading for Ed Ingram, and drafting Ariante Ursary, signing Trent Brown, and moving some of the offensive linemen around, of course adding Jake Andrews off waivers from the New England Patriots, and then at wide receiver, a new-look receiving core with Stephon Diggs signing with the New England Patriots, and Tank Dell still on the injured list and regarded as unlikely to play this year, drafting Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, and really other than that, in the Woody Marks addition to the running back room, not a lot of other moves, but it's a significant amount of change. So this was our first chance this week to see how the offense looks and see what kind of stamp Nick Caley is putting on the offense, his singular imprint based on his background with the Rams with Sean McVay, and then with the Patriots with obviously with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady, coaching Rob Gronkowski. So, some things I picked up on. I want to kind of go through the offense, and we'll have a separate defensive video, but these are just some takeaways I have about the offense. As I said in a separate video, no concern about C.J. Stroud. C.J. has tight shoulder muscle, and he's expected to throw as soon as this week at the next organized team activity. So I think fans won't really breathe a real sigh of relief. And obviously, there's lots of conspiracy theories, and people think, well, they're hiding injuries. Why can't they say this? I'm telling you, this is not a big deal. He was shooting three-pointers over the weekend at an event. He's had great shoulder flexion. We're seeing him hold the football up this high with resistant bands. He was doing a lot of things. He was doing handoffs. If he was seriously injured, he would be in the training room. He wouldn't be on the field handing the football off. He wouldn't be doing the drills he's doing. He would be running. He is fine. That's fine. Believe me or not, I'm telling you, it is not a big deal. And people I trust have told me that. I've had the same resounding message from multiple people about C.J. Stroud. So we're talking about C.J. Let's talk about his development. Obviously, we didn't get to see him throw, but soon we will. But that's not really – we already know he can throw. It's about him putting his imprint on the offense. And it was interesting to hear Nick Caley say that's what C.J. wanted. C.J. wants to have more autonomy to change protections, to change plays, to audible. And it's a collaboration between C.J. and Caley. And so far I'm hearing it's off to a great start. So that's the most important thing. And I think Davis Mills has had his moments as a backup since joining the Texans as a former starter. And they're solid there with him as the backup quarterback. He looks fine at the OTAs, throwing the ball well, having some success. All right, let's shift to wide receiver. And one of the reasons that people should be encouraged and upbeat about the Texans offense is the presence of Nico Collins. So Nico is someone that, is just a dynamic receiver. This is a Pro Bowl guy, the go-to guy. And I know it's just OTAs, but he looks just as explosive as he did during the season. I mean, he looks like he's ready for the season right now. And I expect him, especially if he plays a full season, to be back to that 80-catch, 1,200-yard type of level. He's certainly capable of even more production than that, but I think he could be a 100-catch guy. It's just a matter of how much volume do they want to have with Nico Collins. The new additions, Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins runs outstanding routes. He has really good speed. We saw that on display Friday. Saw him get loose. Saw him get open, create separation. But it's not just about the separation. It's the precision of the routes. It's how easily he catches the football. It's the size of his hands. And there's a lot to like what you're seeing with going on with Jaden Higgins. They add Jalen Knoll. They have a fast wide receiver, 4.39 with a 42-inch vertical. Really adds a presence of speed to the offense, and it's just outstanding to have a player like him to add to they've got going on with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk saw him for one day, didn't see him out there the other day. Nothing major, just he was at the practice on Friday, and he's a player that they're counting on heavily, but availability is a big deal with Christian Kirk. He's got to be healthy, so that's what they hope for the season. They're just being precautionary with a lot of these players. As far as other wide receivers, John Mechie III, didn't really see him taking this big leap forward, but obviously it's a long road. He is in a battle for a roster spot. Justin Watson not practicing, was told it's minor. Braxton Berrios is not practicing. He was running on a side field with Dalton Schultz also not practicing. And Braxton's coming off a torn ACL, suffered last October, so that's why he's not practicing. That is not unexpected. No real big plays so far from Xavier Hutchinson, but he is definitely firmly in the mix for a roster spot. Jared Wayne, that touchdown he caught beating Kamari Lassiter, might open some eyes. He is someone that more than likely is very far on the bubble and probably a practice squad type of guy, but we'll see what happens. So now let's talk about offensive line, which is a very popular position. Everybody wants to hear about how things are going with the offensive line and the configurations. So the primary configuration is Cam Robinson at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Jared Patterson at center. They've moved Titus Howard again. He's playing right guard primarily. He's played a couple of snaps at right tackle. And then Blake Fisher, the incumbent right tackle, their second-round pick last year. And he looks a little leaner to me. Looks like he's moving a little bit better. But for Fisher and for Titus Howard, they struggled against Will Anderson Jr. A lot of people are going to struggle against Will Anderson Jr. So let's start from left to right. Cam Robinson, who was subbed for on Friday, they had Ariante Ursary, the massive rookie from Minnesota, going with the first-team offense. I think it's going to be Robinson. They've got him under a one-year, $14.5 million contract. I think that he should be the guy, and he's someone that they can count on. I just think it's a matter of when do they feel like Ariante Ursary is ready to take over one of the starting tackle jobs, and both those guys have to perform well to hold off the challenge of this very big, talented rookie who did have a false start, but overall I thought moved well, impressed me, showed a lot. So we'll see what happens. And I meant to say Jake Andrews, not Jared Patterson. So Jake Andrews was in front of Jared Patterson subbing in. And Andrews has this long background with Cole Popovich at Troy University. He's also from the New England Patriots, claimed him off waivers. A little bit different from Patterson, a little bit bigger, stronger player and higher drafted, fourth round. And, now that he's healthy, I think you're starting to see what he can do there as the main pivot there in the middle and the guy snapping. But Patterson will be heard from in this competition. But for right now, the leader to win the job is Jake Andrews. So interesting to see how they've configured the line. And then there's some guys that, worked in. There was Juice Scruggs. There was Ed Ingram. And right now, Trent Brown is still not practicing. Trent, of course, is coming off of a knee injury last year with the Cincinnati Bengals. So he's a backup at the moment. They played Jalen Thomas a lot at right guard with the second team, so that was interesting to see. He played more than Ladarius Henderson. A lot of people are really curious about Ladarius Henderson. You saw my conversation with him from the Jalen Petrie youth football camp, but right now it's other guys getting more opportunities than, say, a Ladarius Henderson or a Zach Thomas. Did see a lot of Austin Deculus from Cy-Fair High School, LSU guy that was on the team last year, so was brought back. So at the tight end position, so with Dalton Schultz not practicing, along with Brevin Jordan, who tore his ACL, is making a good recovery, but isn't ready to practice yet. It's been mostly Cade Stover and Luke Lachey, and Stover looks really explosive. That was someone whose toughness was noted, and Nick Caley has a lot of familiarity with Cade, and so I see Cade taking another step forward. Updating, meant to mention this before, but I didn't. Graham Mertz, who tore his ACL last year at Florida, is expected to be full go by training camp. So look for the rookie from Florida to join that group at the quarterback position, so be out there throwing. Running back, I hadn't talked about this yet. So you've heard me talk before, as I'd reported, Joe Mixon would not be practicing. Joe is still sidelined with a foot/ankle thing, I believe. No one's been very specific about it. I was told it's not that serious, and he's been in a walking boot. Was told he got hurt working out away from the Texans facility. Doesn't sound like he was doing anything wrong. Just sometimes players get injured when they're trying to exercise. Dameon Pierce, I was told that's minor, but he's not practicing currently. Has a history of ankle issues. So a lot of work for Woody Marks, the 4th-round pick from USC, outstanding pass catcher. We've seen him work out of the backfield. I think he's got a lot of talent, and he's got a good chance to push for this RB2 position behind Joe Mixon. But it's been a lot of J.J. Taylor's a shifty, smaller runner. Jahar Jordan, who also has some special teams ability. And so we've seen a lot of those guys lining up. Clearly the fullback is going to be Jacob Johnson, and he's got a lot of experience as a lead blocker. And if they're keeping a fullback, and it looks like they will, I think that I project him to be the starting fullback and the primary lead blocker. And they do like the fullback. That's something they used a lot in New England with James Devlin, and that was a player that Nick Caley coached, and he has a lot of background with the fullback position and believes in that. So it'll be interesting to see how much the Texans utilize a fullback. Old school, I formation football. You can go split backs, but are they going to have a blocker in front of Joe Mixon? So that'll be interesting to see. Are they playing some power football and some zone stuff, gap? They're going to do a lot of things. But yeah, hearing Caley, you can tell the energy. You can kind of see it on the field. Really passionate, young offense coordinator, 42 years old, taking over this offense. And everything I've heard about him, very well prepared for this moment. So exciting to see Caley take the reins and put his imprint on an offense that needs direction, that needs a shot in the arm, whatever cliche you want to throw in, but as long as it leads to more yards, more points, greater red zone efficiency, better pass protection, he's got a lot to roll up his sleeves and dig into, but that's what happens when you're the replacement. It's never a tailor-made situation where everything is perfect, and Caley loves challenges. And I've had a chance to talk to other coaches that have been with Caley as he climbed the coaching ladder, including Brian Callahan, Arion Terrestri's position coach at the University of Minnesota. They worked together at Akron, and he's just very impressed. He thinks that Nick Caley is going to really, really kick ass as the Texans' new offensive coordinator. So exciting to see what Caley does with this offense, and he has a lot of freedom to do what he wants, and just a green light to really try to revolutionize the offense. And I just thought it was too stagnant last year, not good enough, not enough points scored. I know they had their moments, especially early in the season, but overall, I think the offense can take a huge leap, and a lot of this will happen with C.J. Stroud and Caley, their collaboration as they work together to try to make and build a better offense. So that's my report for now on the temperature of the offense and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. But work in progress, of course, but a lot of things to be encouraged about, a lot of talent they've added, and has a chance to be a good offense. I think they've done a lot to set the table for this team, and we'll see where it all ends up. A long time till they play the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. You're going to hear that from me many times in the months to come, but it's the truth. We're here in the spring, so let's make the observations we can and just be logical about it all. And that's my whole thing. That's where I come from. I want to see it. I'm not necessarily a skeptic, but I need to see it. Then I can believe it most of the time. I can't just go off paper, and I like to just kind of take it in. And I've watched a couple of practices now, and these are my impressions. And yeah, I appreciate you guys liking, watching, subscribing. Can use more of you guys. Let's pump this thing up. And we're getting closer and closer to the 8,000 subscriber mark. And I really appreciate all of you guys that are, investing in the channel. And obviously it's free, but I mean, as far as your time, which is very valuable, and I know, so I appreciate that. And of course, you can watch me tonight on Sports Sunday with Randy McElvoy at KPRC2. I write for www.click2houston.com, and I'm on Twitter/X and Aaron Wilson _NFL, and Instagram, Aaron Wilson 7128. Thanks, guys. Until next time.